could be a different variant. We'll see whether or not that's the case. Another big story here. A nuclear program has been detected. A second site has been located. What do you think we're learning about this, primarily in Western China?
Well, this is another example of something the Chinese have jumped to rebut and make fun of, and say that this approximately 250 holes in the ground with kind of a metal tent on top. The Chinese say this is wind turbine construction, and nobody should be worried. Our own government hasn't taken an authoritative position yet, but the implication is they could be doubling or tripling the number of H-bombs they have targeted on American cities. Now, we don't have missile defense against Chinese ICBMs. We carefully limit our missile defense to just Iran and North Korea. We would have to start a really major program to enhance our missile defense if these Chinese ICBM silos really are real ICBM silos. I'm kind of worried about it, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem like it is worrisome, right? And then, to your point that we don't have the defense. Just last question for you. So October 31st, I believe, is when Joe Biden and the rest of the G20 allies and China will be together. Do you think that President Biden ought to have some sort of a strategy going into that meeting to deal with this very thing?
Well, I've expected more out of the Biden administration. They said a lot of harsh things about China when they first came in. Joe Biden himself said that China was not going to surpass America on his watch. The very same thing, Dana, that President Trump used to say. But so far, they have not outlined a real strategy that goes point by point how to counter China. They seem to put everything in terms of allies and partners, that somehow the Japanese and Indians are going to come to our aid. And I don't see much evidence of that so far. These other countries are probably more intimidated by China than we are. So I expect more from the Biden administration about their strategy.
Well,
Michael,
thank you.
Yeah, please come back. We'll talk more about that. Great to have your discussion.
You know, his book, The 100-Year Marathon?
Yes.
A friend of mine gave that book to me last year and says it's the most important book you will read this year.
Wow, noted. And she knows. Before we did that interview during the commercial, Mike Pillsbury said that the relationship between Washington and Beijing is at a new low. I think you could also take that argument one step further and argue that it's at the lowest point that we have certainly seen in our lifetimes.
Yeah, well, and deservedly so.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let's move on to this. Mom and pop landlords, they're feeling helpless. They have no way to collect the rent. Watch.
We have tenants who are baiting the system. The place turned into a dump. A lot of broken down cars left around, trash left around, oils all over the place.
Well, now they're going to court to block the CDC's new eviction ban. Is the new moratorium any different from the old one, which the Supreme Court found illegal? Plus, heartbreak in Tokyo ending dreams of a medal, but the finish is something everyone should see.